It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Crowley Ridge College head volleyball coach, Coach Carol Brotman. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college volleyball?
How I got started? Well, I knew from a really young age I wanted to coach. At that, maybe second grade, honestly. Love sports. It was a huge part of my life. And ended up, went on to play in college. I played softball and volleyball in college. And when I got there, I really would have loved to have jumped right into being a college coach then. But you kind of take those paths where, with a family and little kids, it's kind of difficult because the college coaching level is a little bit different with your recruiting and, being away from home. So it's a little more difficult. So I went the high school route right out of college, but always was intrigued and wanted to pursue that path, but just didn't really have the opportunity. So early on.
What was that experience like going to southeastern Missouri and getting to compete?
It was a huge deal for me. I was from a real small town. I was always a very good athlete in school, in high school, in all sports. I mean, just athletic, general. And I just knew I wanted to coach and I wanted to play and I wanted to play as long as I possibly could. So Southeast Missouri State was about, a couple hours from my hometown. So that was just where I wanted to go. I knew a little bit about their softball and their volleyball, and they were at that time a Division II school my first couple years, and then we had transitioned into a Division I. But it was a great experience, just being able to go to that level and play with other players who were who were just as dedicated as I was, and it was just a great experience. Yeah.
For you, what was that feeling like putting on that uniform and representing the college?
It brought a lot of pride. It was just, it was very much, I'm here with this team and I'm part of this. And it was just exciting. I say to my players now, being part of something bigger than yourself in going to college is really a motivator. I find that a lot of students who aren't involved on campus with something, whether it's a sorority or a fraternity or a school team or intramurals or clubs, you can make the experience what you want it to be. And it can be, you can fall through the cracks. It can be something that's not a great experience in your life, but I believe in making it what you want it to be.
How was that experience like for you getting to coach high school volleyball?
I loved coaching in high school. I really did. I enjoy teaching. I think that's the thing that I really love. I love to break down skills, and it's probably one of my better, skills as a coach is I feel like I like to study. I like to, even though it may not be my forte, breaking down the hitting, the steps, the arm swing, and really teaching. So at that level, even the youngest kiddos, I loved to teach. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed introducing them to being competitive and pushing kids and, letting them see how far they can push themselves. It was always, coaching at whatever level I love doing.
For you, what was that transition like going from coaching on the high school to the college level?
I think I look at it as I tell my girls now, this is my dream job. I absolutely love this level because they are all Therefore, they are that next level. They're there to work. They know that. They're competitive. They know what it takes to stay at that level, to play at that level. And sometimes I'll have recruits come in and they'll be like, oh, I don't know, I'm a little scared to, step out here with, they're high school seniors and they're stepping out with, maybe some 3 or 4 year, veteran college players. And, what I find is once they step into that arena with like-minded people, um, they, they begin to flourish. They begin to really just come alive. And I've seen that many times, like, playing with someone, hey, they got that position. You can trust them in that position. It's a great feeling. Kind of you come together, and I think that's the difference. I love this age of player and their dedication.
For you, what was that feeling like getting announced to become the next head coach for Crowley and Ridley?
It was an honor. I tell people, the two things that I love, two of the things I love are sports, the coaching, and being a leader, and also, being a Christian and following Christ. And I feel like the two things just merged in my life. It was here in my hometown, and it's really been a blessing. It's been an opportunity to just be free in my faith, and share that with these players, along with, in conjunction with the coaching, because it's all one thing. It's bigger than the sport. The sport's a tool, it's part of life. It teaches us a lot of things. It's taught me so many things. But to be able to give back and be a part of that with young people now it's really exhilarating. It's exciting.
What were some of the things that you learned as an associate head coach to then help you to make that transition to become head coach?
Well, I had some really great, Coach Wynn, who preceded me, and then our athletic director, Coach Perkins. They were really helped me to, find, figure out all the things that, are different at this level: the recruiting, the budgets, the travel, all these things. They kind of held my hand, and it was really nice. We kind of were able to mesh together, like work together, and I could ask questions. I had that little period of being able to, see it in action with people who had done it before I would, kind of got out there and went with it. So it was a good match, actually. Yeah.
For you, what was that feeling like stepping onto that court for the first time as a head coach?
It just feels like home. When you step out there, I tell people as well that, the next best thing to playing and being competitive is coaching. So it's like you're there and you're just where you're supposed to be. That's how I feel when I step into the practice gym, or when I'm organizing things for, our team on the back end. But when you step into those game situations, it's like you're there with them. We're all in it for, together. That those butterflies, that excitement, that adrenaline's pumping. So yeah, I love that feeling. I love it.
As a head coach, what was that first win like for you?
It was exciting as well. It was fun to watch and see my girls realize. We went to a new conference this year. So we had kind of been in an independent conference the year before. And then this year, as I came in, we were in a new conference. So it was kind of, how are we going to compete? How are we going to match up? And to win a couple games there, was that confidence builder that, hey, we're supposed to be here. We are at this level. We're going to be able to compete. So that was exciting. Exciting to see them.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've started to build for the program?
The culture?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We talk a lot. My coaching style is relationship building. I want to pass that on to them as they go out into the world, whether it's, they're not going to, I'd say most everybody's going to go on to some other career. It's not going to be a professional volleyball career, but the tools, the things that we learn, the way we work with our teammates, the way that we work through adversity together, the way that we shift gears when we have to, when things aren't going our way. These are all things that I want them to learn. So the culture for us is really team. It's really about we're in this together. As a player, I was, a certain status in high school, but when you go to college, I'm a 5'6" player, was a great hitter in high school, or thought I was, and then you go to college and it's like, hey, that's not going to cut it. These ladies are 6 foot, 6'2". So I had to decide: do I want to continue on and play and shift gears basically into a different role, like a libero role at the time? Was it really more of a defensive specialist in my day before liberos were part of the game? But what can I contribute? How can I contribute? And to me, that sense of team is what I want to build with my girls and in this program. That sense of togetherness.
Who are
Yeah.
some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
We have Columbia College, CBC, Mission College, Stevens College, Harris Stowe out of St. Louis, here, the Health Sciences out of St. Louis. I'm thinking, Williams Baptist, which is, in our neck of the woods here. It's kind of close. So, so there's like 10 teams in the conference. Last year we kind of ended up with our first year, which I thought was really an accomplishment. We were kind of middle of the pack. There were actually 12 teams in last year, and 2 have since moved on to different conferences. But so now it's down to 10. But we were in the middle of the pack, 5th, 6th seed, right in there. Made it to the conference tournament, so I was really proud of that. So a couple of the teams in our conference are nationally ranked every year. I mean, some really strong programs. So,
what is that home game atmosphere like when teams like Stevens comes to home versus going to William Baptist?
So if I get your question, it was, what's it like to play at home versus away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our campus has just a really homey, family feeling. Our guys at school, our lady basketball players, everybody is a part of it, and it's fun. It's nice to play on your home court where you've got the support and these kids coming and just they know each other and they've built their own relationships, and everybody's following everybody, everybody's supportive, and that is a really nice feeling, very nice feeling.
What does a typical game day look like for you versus for your players?
For me, it's equipment, stat sheets, kind of all that prep stuff, making sure we've got everything together, making sure our refs are coming, our that everybody's on schedule, that there's no glitches. The other team, just kind of that management part is a little bit of it. And then, honestly, just like a player, I do a lot of the same things I ask my players to. It's really just walking through the game in my mind as to, what we're going to be up against. If we, been able to study film and look at, break it down. What's our team strategy? How are we going to face this team? And what's our game plan? So just walking through that, I do a lot of that. I'm big on, I like to get places early. I like to be there. I like to get the feel of the gym. I like to get to our own place where players have their own time to really just walk through and, do a lot of self-talk and visualizing their own game. And then also, working together and doing some things together as a team meeting. So we may eat lunch together. We may come in hour and a half, 2 hours early just to relax and kind of, get our shoes on and have a little fun, joke around with each other until it's time to, get our warm up going. So.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a head coach, what do you look at in them?
So as far as recruiting, I mean, one of the things that's nice about, technology today is you can do so much on the computer and connect and have conversation and look at film and those type of things. So that's been a big tool for me. Also, just getting out and being a part of the community, getting out to games, being in the high school ranks previously has helped me to kind of connect with coaches, refs, people that, are out there in JO programs, looking at tournaments. We do a JO program here at our school, that a club team that we're able to, kind of keep involved where we can see and get out and see tournaments and all the players that are out there. So I try to get as many games as you can, but with those seasons coinciding, it can be a little tough. So you got to kind of rely on the film. You got to rely on, working and networking with other people.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen putting on that uniform for the first time versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
It's bittersweet, I guess. It's a cycle. You're building a team, you're building a program, you're building, when I want the girls coming in to be to realize that those ladies that are putting it on for the last time, I want them to realize the work that they put in, the legacy that they're leaving, the tradition that they're about to walk in. And the same for the ladies who are leaving, that, they've contributed. They put on that uniform. They have walked, they've put in the work. They've been leaders. They've given back. And I want them, to be proud and to know that they've left something behind. So,
what is it like getting to see those freshmen achieving those first big milestones versus your seniors achieving those last big milestones?
um, it's, I think, because I was a player and because, you go in and you're excited I knew this going in as a player myself, that you're excited and you are, you're looking for, am I going to get to play? And, the newness of the drills, the newness of all the travel and the practices and the new people. It's just, an exciting time. You're making new relationships. And then on the other end, you've got your seniors who have, they're looking at it and they know the special time that they've had in their life, and they know that they're walking into something new, in the next few months or a year, and they appreciate it. It's a newness for the younger ones, but it's a nostalgia type thing for the old, your seniors who know that this will be the last one for me. This is it, So there's there's some mindset differences, Sometimes your seniors are, hey, I need everybody on board here because, yeah, it's new, it's fun, but it's, we got a goal here. So you see the growth in leadership over the course of the years. So.
How is it like getting to see those players going on and playing professional volleyball, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or the overseas?
I think it's amazing. I think that women's sports have come a long way. The opportunities that are available, and I think it's just beginning. I think that the professional league right now is going to grow. I'm really excited about that. The fact that there is overseas opportunities. I'm familiar with one player that is overseas now, absolutely loves it, is able to, has been on maybe 3 or 4 different teams, and has gotten such an amazing experience that you just don't get to come back and do it again. So the opportunity was there for her, and I'm hopeful that some of our players at some point will, if they choose to, will have that opportunity to play overseas or to move up to the next level.
What have been some of the things you've been able to accomplish so far, and what are some of your future plans and goals for the program?
So far, for me coming in, the recruiting has been something that I've had to learn and really work at. And a lot of coaches maybe don't like that as much. I really actually enjoy it because I enjoy meeting people and just, being a part of potentially helping them to get where they want to go in life, whether it's to get a college education or if we have that program, or even when they're maybe a great player and they have different aspirations than our program. I always like having those connections and I feel like God puts us in people's paths and gives us opportunities every day. So I feel I love doing that. Also establishing an off season with a really rigorous off season for our girls with weights, plyometrics, very organized program in the off season. That's something that I'm working on, and we're in the middle of now. I'll continue to do that. I think strength and conditioning is huge, and I will continue to foster that and keep that as part of a big part of our program.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college volleyball?
Um, you know, Enjoy it. Be in the moment. Uh, don't take it for granted. This is an opportunity that not everyone gets. I know I've read a statistic and that only I believe 7% of all the athletes in the U.S. And maybe worldwide um, get the opportunity to play in college sports. And some of the best memories that I have are you remember some of the games and the plays and those things, but it's really the things I remember are the relationships with the your teammates, the accomplishments, the hard work you put in together, and you came out on the other side. I mean, those are things that they will remember, and I know that. And just to enjoy the moment.
What advice would you give those college seniors that have aspirations of playing professionally or getting into college coaching?
Learn the game. Um, that's one thing I think that as sometimes you can be a great player, but if you have aspirations of coaching, I think you have to really study every position. And you may be a hitter, and you've got to really, okay, I need to learn everything I can about all these other positions. And, I would suggest that. I would suggest, I tell my players, if you're on the bench, I need you looking at strategies. I want you to understand the game from a defensive perspective and an offensive perspective, not just your role, but as a team. So if you are looking at going on to another level, oftentimes at another level, you have to shift gears. You may have been a middle hitter and you're going to go to another level. Maybe they're going to move you to right side. Maybe you were a six position outside, and you may have to shift gears and you're only going to be playing outside. So you've got that break. You've got to train your mind to adjust to things. Um, you may end up being a back row player, but where can I help my team? And by learning the game, I think you learn better how, as a player, you can plug yourself in. And as a coach, obviously, you can use that information to help teach and foster, the type of program that you want. You can actually be a much better coach when you work to study the game.
What advice would you give those head coaches that are looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
Um, be true to yourself. Um, I think you have to have a love for the game. I think you have to have a love for your players and seeing people grow. Um, but be true to yourself. Find your niche. Sometimes we want to mimic other coaches, or we see somebody that's doing great, but you've got to find your avenue for communication, your way that you relate to your players, and it's got to feel like home to you. So find who you are. Be true to that. Um, Always keep God first. Keep where it's way bigger. The game's bigger. The game is a tool for us to really just help people to get where they need to go in life. So I think if you keep those things in mind, it'll help guide you through.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the program at?
Where can we find on social media?
Mhm.
We're Curly's Ridge Volleyball. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram. If you're interested in our program, we are. I'm Carol Brotman or C Brotman at crc.edu. But yeah, just get on our page, and you're going to be able to find a link to our program.
Thank you again, Coach Carol Brotman, for your interview, and best luck in your future at Crowley Ridge as the head volleyball coach.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate it. It was great spending time with you. Thanks.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview, and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.